Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om and good evening from Buffalo. Every 6 months, I save all of the files on my laptop onto a flash drive. I'm one of those old school people that still uses those flash drives and hides them in a secret place and so on and so forth. So I have a 32 gigabyte flash drive, and today when I started saving my files from 2008 to the present time, as soon as I got to 2011, it said there's no more space. So then I checked my 09, 10, 11 files to see what's so big that would take 32 gigabytes. Is it videos? Is it recordings? But those files weren't that big. It was half a gigabyte here, a gigabyte there, and that's it. So I was confused that this flash drive is supposed to be 32 gigabytes, but it can't even take on 2.5 gigabytes. So I was frustrated because, you feel like you've been cheated by this product that you've bought. So Sheila happened to be around, and I told her my dilemma. And she said, ask Google. She didn't have time to show me, so she said, ask Google about what to do. So I just Googled it, what to do if flash drive full. And immediately, what came up is that when you delete files off of a flash drive, it's still saved on your host computer. It may not be on the flash drive, but it's still on the host computer, and that still counts towards that storage. So I had to clear out all of the trash on my laptop, and then the space in that flash drive started opening up. So now you're thinking, this is supposed to be the Moha Mudgara course, and here you are talking about technology from the 1950s, and everybody knows about all of this. See, Vedanta becomes real with Viveka. Vedanta becomes real with Viveka. And what is Viveka? Viveka is holding on to that which is important and letting go of that which is not important. Holding on and letting go. Relating this to our flash drive, we empty from the flash drive that which is not important, but we still hold on to it. It's still there. And we're very much like that too, isn't it? That we know that pleasure will not bring us peace, but still we hold on to pleasure. We know that position will not bring us peace, that we should work and serve without looking for recognition, but still we hold on to that, isn't it? And as long as you're holding on to that which is not important, then you can't let go. You can't hold on and let go. I can't hold on and let go of the water bottle at the same time. You're either holding on or letting go. So with Vedanta, with Viveka, we have to really hold on to that which is important, and we have to really let go of that which is not important. And just like today, I wasn't able to figure out the flash drive, I asked a friend, I asked Sheila. So for us, we are also asking help from a friend, and our friend is Acharya Shankara. He is our friend trying to teach us about what is important. Last week, we studied how Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, if even a little bit of listening, reflection, and contemplation is practiced, then we are freed from so much negativity. Changing these words, Shravanam is when you go to someone you care for and ask them for help. That's what Shravanam is. Keyword, someone you care for. In other words, you respect them, you have a relationship with them, and you ask them for help. And they give you a teaching, they give you a message, they give you advice. Upadesha. Mananam is when you make that help your own. Okay? In Shravanam, it's that person who's offering help. In Mananam, you're making that your own. It becomes closer. And the Nididhyasanam would be where you're actually helping yourself. You've made that help your own, and now you're practicing it. Now you're living that. So Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, and if you do a little bit of this, it makes such a difference. Imagine we could be 10% more patient. Our family lives would be better, no? Imagine we could be 10% more compassionate when it came to customer service. Our voice would be much more stable, isn't it? We are fortunate that we live in such ruthless selfishness. Kali Yuga. In this period of Kali, people are more selfish than ever. And why I'm saying that we are fortunate, because if you are selfless, even a little bit, it's magnified. Bhagavan has shared many times in Ramayana, in Bhagavatam, that in this time when the mind is so distracted, if one can just remember the name of the Lord, then that's all that's needed for freedom. So I'm connecting how we just need to start trying. Okay? See, my kurta right now is totally white. And if I use this pen and by accident I write on my kurta, that ink's going to be magnified big time, correct? But if I'm wearing a black sweater or this is already dirty, then if I put that pen mark there, it means nothing. So be grateful that we are where we are right now, the time period we're in right now, because anything that we do will be magnified into something bigger, something better. Okay? How many of you have watched the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off? You all remember that show, that movie, Ferris Bueller? I think it's called Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And one of the most distinct characters in that movie is the teacher. Bueller, that totally monotonous voice that you just keep hearing it and just wanting to sleep, right? Monotony doesn't bring attention to the higher or lower. It's just there. Acharya Shankara in the upcoming shloka is exuding sheer emotion, sheer feeling, sheer connection in this upcoming shloka. And he's exuding this towards us. When you see someone who mistreats a pet, or recently if you've read about what's happening in New Zealand, about all of those whales that are stranding themselves, right? You feel for that because Those animals, pets, they didn't ask to be mistreated. And those whales, maybe they got lost hunting and see that small mistake led to their death. You feel for that, right? And it's always feeling pity for someone else. In this case, as we read this shloka, this is being shared about ourselves. This feeling is not about an external party. It's about us. Okay? Please repeat after me. This is a powerful and famous and lovely shloka. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare. Iha samsare bahudustare. Kripaya pare pahi murare. Kripaya pare pahi murare. Bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam, govindam bhaja mudamate. Acharya Shankara says here, punaha api. Punaha means again. Api means also again. What? Jananam, birth. Punaha api maranam. So again birth and again death. And again birth and again death. How many times? In Vivekachudamani it says, it will take us 1 billion intelligently lived births and deaths. Now, the scary word there should not be the billion, it should be the intelligently lived. Who knows how big that number can become. Now, birth and death that's highlighted here in a literal sense is it's painful to give birth, to be birthed. I don't know if that verb makes sense, but that whole process is painful. And dying is the same way. For someone who's dying, that's painful. For the people around them, it's painful. Looking at this more deeply, though, not just at a physical sense. If you're born, if you die, if you're born, if you die, it's because we're still identified with the ego. Correct? We're not identified with the spirit, which means we are suffering from this feeling of incompleteness. I know so many of you very well. You know me very well. What is it that we don't have in our lives? We're going to get to the raw about our first world problems. What isn't it? What is there that we don't have? And it would be hard to write that which is legitimate, that which is actually missing. Yet, that feeling of incompleteness it's there. All around us there's completeness, but that feeling of incompleteness, that suffering is almost indescribable. It's certainly incomparable. That's what Acharya Shankara brings out in this first quarter, that if you're being born and you're dying, it's you feeling incomplete. In the next quarter, he says, Punarapi, again, also, Janani Jatare Shayanam. That in Janani means mother. Jatare means in the womb of a mother. Shayanam. One is lying, one is sleeping. Now this is very similar to the first line, first quarter if you take it literally, but you have to think more. Shayana means lying, Shayana means sleeping, Shayana means fallen. We have come to succumb to this feeling of incompleteness. We've succumbed to it, and what that means is we've fallen so often and we've fallen so low that we believe it's our nature to be fallen and low. When we keep studying our nature as ananda, is independent joy, how many of us actually feel that? Hardly. And if we do, it's by accident because we don't know about the challenges or problems around us. We've come to accept that living is suffering. And we have so many, I bring out these Bollywood movie names like K3KG, is that what it's called? Kabhi Khushi Kabhi, or KG3 or whatever it's called, you know? Kabhi Khushi, Kabhi Gham, you know? And the Khushi part we skip over, but it's the Gham part. Or the other movie is Chalta Hai. It's not a movie, but people say, you know, how's life? Chalta hai. You know, it's going on. Like imagine you asked a student, you know, how's school? And they'll say, going on. That's expected, right? They may have lacked that interest in school. But we say that about life. How's life? It's going on. Like we're just waiting to die. That's what really we're saying. In the third quarter, Acharya Shankara, our friend, is saying, Iha samsare. We are in this samsara. Bahu, very dustare, very difficult to cross or to come out of this samsara. Come out of this feeling of incompleteness. We're stuck. Think about your life, and if you want to get into a certain school, if you want to get into a relationship, if you want to buy something, if you want to go somewhere, you want to earn something, you can do it. You've probably done it. Now we've been studying about enlightenment for a decade. Are we feeling more free? See that stuckness that's happening? And when we try to swim, you know, samsara is sometimes an ocean, it's sometimes this sea. We try to swim, and what comes then? This water keeps changing. It just keeps pushing you down again. How many times we've tried to give up sweets? How many times we've tried to be regular in waking up or exercising or serving or teaching or just being a better person. And there comes samsara pushing us down again. A major reason for this is because we keep looking around. Another word for samsara is society. You look at that person and that person is suffering. You look at that person's craving recognition. You look at that person's always complaining about their health. So we keep using society as a reference point. We come to believe that's real. Satsang is even more powerful when we understand such a shloka, because in satsang, the reference point is not what we've succumbed to. The reference point is our potential. In satsang, there's emphasis on discipline, on contentment, on independence. In satsang, our reference point changes from the functional. As long as I use society as my reference point, functionality. Like so many of us study Vedanta to be a better business person, to be a better parent, to be, a better communicator. Vedanta can bring you freedom. Why are you studying for these reasons? That's us using samsara as a reference point. We need to start using satsang as a reference point. Your real friends, whether you know it or not, are the people sitting around you right now. The people sitting in front of you and behind you. They should be your reference point. In the last line, see, and Acharya Shankara is such a powerful, famous, lovely friend. He tells us what we're supposed to do. He says, Kripaya, it is only through grace, apare, that we can cross over. So, pahi murare, please protect me, O destroyer of Mura. In other words, Lord Krishna. Okay? Bhagavan Acharya Shankara is guiding us to Bhagavan, Krishna, or Bhagavan, period. Now, I'll elaborate on this. What does kripa mean? Blessings or? Kindness or? Grace. Okay, all fine words. We'll pick up on grace. Any sacred development, and certainly freedom is only possible by when these four types of grace come together. Okay? The highest grace is called Ishvara Kripa, the grace of God. Highest. There's no grace higher than that. Ishvara Kripa is triggered, is invoked by Shastra Kripa, the grace of the scriptures. Because we've studied, I think, in Bhajagovindam, but certainly in Vedanta and Ramayana, that Narayana's breath is the Veda. In other words, Bhagwan's Kripa manifests as Shastra. Okay. Shastra Kripa is triggered or invoked by Acharya Kripa, also known as Guru Kripa, by the grace of your guide. And why is he or she your guide? Because this guide can guide us through the Shastra, correct? And the Shastra guides us to Bhagwan. But if you can't navigate the Shastra, how are you going to get to Bhagwan? And now the most immediate grace is called Swakripa, also known as Atma Kripa. In this case, my own grace. I have to invoke the grace of the Guru by working, by striving. The way that Guruji shares this, he says, prayers go up and blessings come down. Right? We have to invoke those blessings. So many of us just expect blessings. Living a life of expectations is a foolish way to live. For me to expect all of you to like me, for all of you to start class on time, for all of you to actually have discussions when we sign off, that is foolish of me to have such expectations. Here, for me to just expect my guru is going to come into my life, and then the Veda is going to come, and then Bhagwan's going to come, and I'm going to sit and do nothing because I believe in fate. My fate is all of this will come, so I'm just going to lie down and wait for this to come. Start your Swakripa by working on your enemies. This word Murari wasn't chosen casually. Ari means enemy. Ari means the one who constantly torments you. I only torment you on Thursdays. Soumya torments you when she emails you, but who torments you all the time? The mind, the ego, that incompleteness, isn't it? So no president is your enemy. You're allowing presidents to become your enemy. Ari. Work on your enemies, and our enemies are desire, anger, greed, and on and on and on. You just pick one of them and start working on it. Work on stress. Work on nervousness. Work on procrastination. That's young people's favorite vice. They're like proud of it, about how much they can procrastinate. They glorify that. When you begin to work on your enemies, you'll find a guide will be there to guide you on your self-development, will guide you through the Shastra, will guide you to Bhagwan, who is you. If you believe God is infinite, that means you. For those who read today's Rad, it was from Rumi. Essentially, Rumi says, I tried to find God and I could only find myself. I tried to find myself and I could only find God. They're not separate. Through our experience, we need to learn to let go. When we say here, Kripaya, Kripaya means you're surrendering. Your hands are up here. And if your hands are up here, that means you've let go of all that is functional, all that is relative. Now I'm going to tell you very specifically how this letting go looks like. Okay? From the perspective of karma, From the perspective of karma, and I've shared this with you many times, you cannot exhaust all your vasanas. Look at my face right now. If you didn't hear me, look at my face. You cannot exhaust your vasanas. When you come to that understanding and appreciation, you lift up your hands. That I can't exhaust these vasanas through my good deeds, by being a good person. I need help. From a jnana perspective, what does it mean to ask for kripa? It is when we understand that there is no mukti. Referencing Nirvana Shatakam, Acharya Shankara says, na muktihi, and then he follows that by saying, na bandha. That is a profound statement. There is no freedom because there is no bondage. There can only be freedom if there's bondage. So that's from a jnana perspective. When you let go of this idea that you're going to become free, that's when bondage becomes unreal. Okay? And now to a bhakti perspective, which is what's most important in this shloka. Another name for Bhagwan is Maya Pati. The master of Maya, the master of samsara. And if you're stuck in Maya, in samsara, don't go asking other people who are stuck too on how to get unstuck. You have to go to the master. In other words, let go of all of the hands you're holding, your acquaintances, your friends, your family. The way that Guruji shared this, he said, if you go, now in many of your homes you have pets. In one home I go to, they claim to have a dog, but it's actually a wolf. You know, they secretly have a wolf in their home. I'll be in that house next week. I'll show you the wolf, in case you don't believe me. And this wolf loves to bark at me. Even though I go to that home all the time, in my car it's barking at me, as I'm walking to the door, as I'm leaving, barking, you know? And as soon as that wolf's master comes, whether it's the kids or the parents, what does that wolf do? Becomes quiet. Because that is that wolf's pati, the master of the wolf. I'm the nokar, I'm the servant of that wolf. Wherever that wolf is, I run away. I lock doors and so on and so forth. So imagine samsara is a dog, an animal. We shouldn't just pick on dogs. An animal. And it's barking at you. It's about to bite you. What do you have to do? Call the master. And if the master comes, that animal will become quiet. So how many of you are lifting your hands? How many of you are swimming out of samsara? I'm going to finish this shloka by actually giving you a ladder of enlightenment, which Acharya Shankara begins Viveka Chudamani with. Okay? This is really awesome. So if you can remember this, which you probably can't, so write it, is really what I'm politely saying. Keep this reference point with you always, okay? Here we are. Drowning in incompleteness. Rung 1, okay? You can visualize it as a pool. You know those ladders that take you out of a pool. Here's rung 1, is being a human. The first rung, the first step out of coming out of incompleteness is to be a human. Check for everyone. Number 2. Okay, being a human, given. Number 2 is being courageous. Being courageous. What's indicative of someone who's courageous is someone who's responsible. Irresponsible people are cowards. Rung 3, being reflective. Being reflective. As you're going about your responsibilities, are you thinking about the why? Why have these responsibilities? what will come from these responsibilities? So reflective. What was the first one? Looking at me. Human, courageous, reflective. Number 4, being disciplined. Here's where attrition comes off big time. It's like a very steep bell curve once discipline comes in. Being disciplined is, now that I'm reflecting on my responsibilities, being disciplined is to make these responsibilities more real. Instead of doing it for acquaintances and friends and family, for Bhagwan. Number 5, being intelligent. Actually using Viveka. That this is not productive. These people are not productive. This usage of time is not productive. So I need to let go and I need to hold on to that which is productive. That which will help me grow. Number 6, being discriminative. Being discriminative. See, being intelligent, I'm still using it in a worldly sense. You know, there's good people and then there's better people. There's good use of time, there's better use of time. Being discriminative, you change it from important and unimportant to real and unreal. You've just brought in a different dimension. You're freeing yourself from functionality. Which leads to number 7, which is being experienced. When you experience your own nature. In the advanced Vedanta course, we would have called this Savikalpa Samadhi. When you taste this stillness, but it's still separate than you, that's number 7. Number 8, which is really not a step, okay? The steps end at 7. And then when you come off the ladder, that means you're not in the water anymore. So the 7 rungs are over, and now the last 2 descriptive words are being established and being free, which really are the same. Once you taste that silence, nothing else will satisfy us. So you keep immersing yourself more in that silence till you are established in that silence. And that is what we call freedom. From being stuck to being free. Being human, being courageous, being reflective, being disciplined, being intelligent, being discriminative, being experienced. Those are the 7 rungs. Then you're established and you are free. Oh.